What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Just Chris Podcast. If this is your first time listening, I am your host, Chris Carter, and this is my podcast. We're on episode 17 this week, and it's going to be a solo show today. So, unlike these past 2 weeks where I've had a guest on, it's not the case today. I had Derek from Booth Library out of Elkins, West Virginia on last week where we talked about memes and popular culture. And then the week before that, I had Thaddeus Breckenridge out of Beckley, West Virginia, where we talked about finance, cryptocurrency, and trading strategies. If you did listen to these episodes, I hope you enjoyed them just as much as I enjoyed making them. And I feel like it's going to be kind of tough to beat those episodes. I thought they were really good episodes, so I guess we'll see. Now, if you're tuned in this week on the audio version on Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, wherever you consume podcasts, thanks for listening this week. Now, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, what's up? And if you're curious about how to find the audio or video version, whichever version you're not listening or watching, all of the details will be included in the description. So just take a peek below. Now, before we do start the episode, I do ask that if you have time, if you have the opportunity, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, or like and subscribe to the video. And by doing that, it would help me tremendously. Now, let's get into the episode. It feels so weird doing a solo episode now. It seems like it's been months since I've recorded one on my own. And I tried to record this episode last night, and I just had a super hard time with it. As much as I love having guests on the podcast, it's still nice to sit down and record one by myself in the studio. Which, by the way, I got something new going on here, and if you haven't noticed it, I'm going to get into it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the new setup. We'll talk about how the studio is right now. Now, earlier in the podcast, probably episode 2 through 7 or 8 maybe, I was keeping the listeners updated with what's been going on in my life, which this included weekend recaps or previews of this coming week or the coming weeks. But slowly, I've gotten away from keeping people up to date with what's been going on. And that's what this episode's all about today. Informing you guys of where I'm at right now. And I will say, I really think I'm in a very good place right now in life. Things have been going very smoothly. Everything's going well. I'm seeing a ton of big dubs, little dubs. It's going great. I feel like there's a million new things in life right now. So I'm not really sure where to start or what to start telling you guys about first. I don't know, I guess probably the biggest thing, which will then segue into our main topic for this week, is that I'm no longer working at the golf course. I've hung up the boots, I've hung up the overalls. Hung up the boots? I put up the boots, I've hung up the overalls, put my gloves away, and I'm no longer there. I'm no longer at the golf course working outside every day. And as much as I love being outside, driving to tractors on a daily basis, working on the course, getting to spend time down on the green, playing a ton of golf, unfortunately, those days have come to an end. I think I'm definitely going to miss working at the golf course, without a doubt. I mean, even now, I'm sitting in the office thinking dang, I wonder what it would be like sitting on the tractor, driving around the course right now. So, without a doubt, I definitely think I'm going to miss it. I mean, I already do. But your boy now has a job within my field of study, which was finance. And that leads into the the next article of big news. I am happy to announce, drumroll please, that I am fully employed. I now have a full-time job, working 40 hours a week, doing something that I enjoy, and I never thought the day would come. Since I left school last March, I've been killing the applying for jobs game. Killing the applying for jobs game. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I've been doing that. I've been hammering it. LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, all of those job ad websites, I've been on my game with. But every time I'll get an email back pretty much thanks, but no thanks. We're not looking for people right now. We're not looking for this at this moment. Well, all right. Why do you have it advertised? I don't know. But I spent a ton of time grinding to find a full-time job, and I have finally got one. And it's exciting. Now, let me tell you the position title, because I feel like this might throw some people off a little bit if you know me. I am now a staff accountant. A staff accountant? Honestly, I never thought I would see the day where I'm telling you guys or telling people or friends or family that I'm an accountant, but I guess today's that day. Now, in college, I could not stand accounting. I hated it so much. And I think the reason for this was because I just didn't understand it. I just had a super hard time understanding everything like halfway through accounting 1 and into accounting 2. So I kind of just like breezed through the courses without really learning much. And I think like the only one I think the only person who's at fault here is me. I mean, if I would have just like paid attention a little more, I'd feel much more comfortable like doing accounting things. But I think that kind of goes back to freshman year in accounting 101. Incredible professor, by the way. I just feel bad that like I just didn't pay all that much attention in. I wish I would have. Like if I could go back, I'd definitely pay attention in accounting. Now, on the first day of class, the professor told us that if we paid attention and took notes in the first 4 chapters of the class, we'll pretty much be set on understanding the basics of accounting, which will then benefit us in the long run. Who wants to take a guess on who didn't pay attention in accounting? Who didn't take notes in the first 4 chapters? I took some notes. Just not a lot. It was me. That's who didn't. Somehow, I made it through accounting 101 with a pretty good grade. I don't know. It happened. And then somehow, I survived accounting 2 with a B. And I think my secret for that is you can, kind of pay attention the first, I don't know how many, 15 weeks of a class. And then when it comes time for that final 2 weeks, that's when you really pick it up. And that's when you start grinding. And you learn the entire accounting course in 2 weeks. And that's what I did. And the professor that was there to help me through it all, he thought, I just had a hard time understanding the concept and understanding everything we talked about. But I'm sorry, Preston. In reality, I didn't pay so much attention to it. I wish I would have. Seriously, if I could go back, I would go back and pay attention in accounting, because just having those basics going into the position that I'm in, it would help so much more. But I've now been working there for a few weeks, and I feel comfortable with my accounting skills for the most part. A couple things here and there. But I think if I would have had that extra push or that little extra cushion of understanding the first 4 chapters of accounting, I'd feel much more confident about it. But I mean, after a few weeks at work and grinding and putting in some work on the internet, Googling terms, I get it now. I have an understanding of accounting. Now, when I learned about this position, when I learned about the accounting position, I didn't really care so much about the job title. I knew it was an accounting position, and I know what accountants do. But the only goal that I had when getting a new job or starting a new job was I wanted a job where I could look at numbers all day and then use Excel on a daily basis. In addition to that, I wanted the opportunity to use a dual monitor setup. I mean, you cannot beat the dual monitors. You can't convince me otherwise. And it just so happens that not only do I look at numbers all day and use Excel, but I have 3 monitors to do it. So really, I'll mark that as a dub in my book. I think I'm winning when it comes to that. And it really, really allows me to think outside the box when it comes to, what I was used to. I mean, I went from working on a golf course every day, being outside, not really using much, what's the word for it? not so much like book knowledge, I guess, to now using that every day. And like it really works your brain differently, which I enjoy. Like I like the challenge. It's a lot different than the challenges I came into as a greenskeeper when I worked in the cart barn. All of these other little jobs, like they all pose challenges to me. But I would say the position that I'm in right now, like it makes me think outside the box. Um, so I enjoy it though. I have a good time. I'm still in the process of trying to prioritize my time between needs and wants, but it's getting better. And to hit on that about the prioritization of my time, I apologize for this episode being released late. I'm working on it. It'll get better. But I'm just trying to find that groove, trying to find the perfect balance between work, all of my extracurricular stuff, and sleep. And, this past week, I think I did pretty well with it. I think so. I had to completely drop off the after work naps, though. I can no longer take an afternoon nap. Now, good news, though. Fridays are half days. And how did I spend this past Friday as a half day? It was 85 degrees out. Your boy went up to Dorothea Dix Park up in Raleigh, and I spent from 2:30 until 6:30 sitting outside with a view of downtown Raleigh. Could not beat it. Could not beat the weather. And, if the weather continues to be like that on Fridays, I think I might do that every Friday. I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. But I don't know. Now, I know in a previous episode, a while back, now that I think about it, I've been talking about this for a while. I mentioned how I was going to be, I mentioned how I was going to be getting a new computer. Well, if you're watching this on the video version on YouTube, check this little bad boy out. I'm going to turn the camera for y'all. Oh, and then we got the camera or the monitor. But got the new setup. It's looking good. I'm loving it. It's incredible how fast this computer is. And this was actually the computer that was used in Jimmy Neutron's lab. So let's just say I can do just about anything with this bad boy. You name it, I can most likely do it. God, I love it. This thing's so sweet. It was definitely worth the time and the hard work to pay for it. But, the biggest or person I can thank the most for this is our boy Vlad Tenev out of Robinhood. Now, I would like to thank Robinhood for helping me fund this incredible purchase. And if it weren't for your company's poor approach to satisfying retail investors, I would have never liquidated my account and started from scratch with a new institution. It's been a very long time coming for this purchase, and I've been ready to buy this computer since like January. And it's mid-March right now. Now, unfortunately, I had to make a decision a few months back. I had to choose between a want, which was getting a new computer, or a need, getting my Jeep fixed. It was a pretty tough decision at first, but I knew in the end I made the right one. I prioritized my needs versus wants, and I think by holding out and holding on purchasing the computer benefited me much more. Like, I was actually able to get everything that I originally wanted, plus more, for a better price than what I had originally looked at. And as I'm recording this episode, I have my Jeep back now. My Jeep is out of the shop. She's all fixed up, and I paid half of what I was expecting to pay. So, a fixed Jeep and a new computer with a killer setup, you can't beat it. You can't. But the power behind, I'm telling you, like, if this computer could like sleep in the same bed with me every night, like, me and the computer would be cuddling. This thing is unreal. I mean, I've known for a while which game I was going to get first when I got it. And I got it, and I bought GTA 4. I bought Grand Theft Auto 4. And for a game that came out in 2008, when I was still in elementary school, the graphics on it, like playing on the computer, are unreal. Now, it may just be like my graphics card, but it's crazy how clear everything is. Like the first night I was playing, I had the lights off in the office, and like you could see for days on the screen when you were driving. And transitioning from Xbox and like viewing it on my TV screen through my Xbox One and my 360 to now on the PC, it's like a whole new game. Now, the downside to this, from the downside of the transition, is relearning how to play the game, relearning how to play all of these games. And I will admit, like growing up, I've always been pretty clean on the sticks with Grand Theft Auto. But the moment I switched over, the moment I leveled up to PC, I feel like I'm playing video games for the first time in my life. And now I have to learn everything from the jump. It's cool though. Like, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I really enjoy the fun I get out of it, as well as the versatility of the computer. I mean, gaming's a breeze. Having 500 tabs open at once is incredibly easy. Video and audio production are simple. Do I need to say much more? I mean, just that right there is everything I wanted out of computer. And here we are. We're cooking in the lab, boys, I'll tell you. The only thing I have left on my wish list for this thing is I want to get a webcam. I really would like to start streaming, even if like people don't watch it, which I don't know. I think people will. Maybe. I think it'll still be a good time. Like just looking through Steam, like all the silly indie games I saw, I think they'd be pretty entertaining to stream and just talk through it all. But that's the goal. I tried to do it on my laptop, and my laptop just couldn't handle it. It couldn't handle having 2 tabs open in addition to Ableton, and that's about it. Like the computer would crash every time. But now, that's not the case. So I am trying to start to get into streaming, trying to get into streaming once I get this camera. Once that stimmy check hits, shout out to our boy, Joe Biden. Shout out to the boy. I hope I get it. I mean, it's only been like, 2 or 3 other stimulus checks that I haven't gotten. So, if he can make it happen, your boy's going to be streaming before we know it. We'll see how it goes, though, but I'm really just looking to try new things surrounding this and see, like, what I like the most out of it. And I will compare this to starting the podcast. I mean, I wanted to start the podcast to try something new, put myself in different situations, different challenges, and see how I'd react. See how I would, bounce back from those challenges, from failures or big successes. And after 17 episodes, I'll admit it, I still find it to be a challenge. But I love the feeling of accomplishing a new goal every week. It's great. I mean, it's just a new challenge every single week that I choose to take on. And then the feeling that you get once you publish it, once you upload the video, it feels great. Like, I accomplished this. I got this done. Now, once I do get my webcam, though, and get everything squared away, I will plug the link to my Twitch and everything in the description in addition to what I already have plugged. But just keep an eye out for that. I mean, I'll be sure to keep you guys on the lookout. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated with it. Now, before we begin to close out this episode, I would like to give a couple shout outs to the boys. Shout out to my boy Logan Carroll out of Coates, North Carolina, and the boy Tyler Reed out of Elkins, West Virginia. They've been following the podcast since the beginning, and I actually had the opportunity to see Logan for the first time in months this past weekend. Months. And the last time I saw him, he had his hair super short, and then I see him on, I think, Saturday night. It's like to his shoulders. So Logan, it was great seeing you. I'm definitely going to have to come back out there ASAP. And then for the boy Tyler Reed, man, I miss you, bro. I still, unfortunately, have not heard back from Doja Cat regarding your guys' marriage. Hopefully, soon we'll be hearing something. I mean, if I can set this up, Tyler, please let me be the best man. Please let me be the best man, Tyler. I can hope, you can hope. I mean, we'll continue to pray for it, but I don't know. Now, for the next few episodes, you can look forward to more solo shows. So I'm not going to have a guest on for probably like 3 or 4 episodes, maybe 3. The goal is to have a guest on for episode 20, maybe 21. Dang, episode 20? I'm going to make it to episode 20, without a doubt. Now, when I first started, it's crazy. When I first started recording the podcast, I was doing research and everything, and I saw that a super high percentage of people stop podcasting and stop producing after their 8th episode. And I was scared of that. Like, I wanted to overcome the 8th episode. And when I did it, it felt great. But the goal wasn't to just get past 8. The goal from the beginning was to get to 10 and then beat that. And where are we at right now? We're at episode 17, baby. We've been there. The goal of the podcast right now, though, one of the goals, I guess, is to continue to create episodes and look forward in increments of 10. Okay? So I made it to episode 10. In a few weeks, we'll be making it to episode 20. In a little bit of time, episode 30. And before you know it, we're going to be at 50 episodes. 50 episodes? When that day comes, it's going to be wild. So look forward to that. Look forward to episode 20. I love this. I love doing it. I love making the podcast every week. It's a great time, and I don't plan on slowing down anytime soon. I think it's a good thing. It's a good pastime to have, a good hobby. Now, the next goal of mine for the podcast is to start expanding to new audiences. I'd love to really begin to branch out with the episodes and kind of get, what's the word for it? Just try to get more people listening, more people tune in week after week and, continue to increase my retention rate. Now, I know I'm not going to do it right away. I'm not going to expand to new audiences immediately. I'm still looking into developing strategies for growth when it comes to the podcast. And I would love to see the podcast grow into something larger than what it already is. I think everybody that has podcasting as a hobby, would love to see their podcast go somewhere. And that's what I'm looking forward to. However, I'm not in any rush whatsoever to get there. Right now, I'm just trying to, episode by episode, and continue to try to find my groove when it comes to the episodes. And I won't say that, I've gone and found my groove yet. I definitely feel like I've narrowed down from where I began, but I still haven't gotten there yet. And I think, the more that I produce and the more that I put out, I'll begin to find that. But I guess until then, you just got to keep staying tuned to the episodes. Week after week, I'll be Twitch streaming soon. You guys look forward to that. And then last thing that I have for you guys for this week's episode of Just Chris Podcast, you probably noticed on the audio version that I didn't have an intro or an outro song. I know, it's unfortunate. What also is unfortunate is that the clips of my intro and outro didn't make the transition to the new computer. Pour one out for the lost homies. Pour one out for the boys. We couldn't make the switch. Now that's when I'm going to open the floor to you guys, to the listeners. So I'm looking into new instrumentals, new beats, things that I could use to replace the intro and outro, but I'm coming up short. And for the listeners, if you have anything or any good suggestions that you think would sound great, or you think you can produce something that you think would sound great for the podcast, send me an email. We can definitely work something out. I think it'll be an awesome opportunity to get the listeners more involved with the podcast and to have the opportunity to contribute to the podcast. I don't know. I think it'll be good. So keep that in mind, guys. As always, you can find me wherever you consume podcasts. I'm on YouTube, uploading videos weekly with the help of the wonderful Scott Barker. Also, Scott, congratulations to the new internship out in Flagstaff, Arizona. I'm looking forward to all the new production things that you're looking to make in the future. Guys, if you're not following Scott, his link is in the description as well. And if you have any questions, comments, you want to hit me with a couple beats and instrumentals, you want to help expand or grow the podcast, send me an email. justchrispodcast@gmail.com. And that's what I got. So, guys, thank you so much for listening this week. I look forward to next week's episode. Sorry for no outro music. Maybe next week. Y'all take care.